George Clooney, I love Joe Biden, but we need a new nominee. I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I make no apologies for that. I'm proud of what my party represents and what it stands for. As part of my participation in the democratic process and in support of my chosen candidate, I have led some of the biggest fundraisers in my party history. Barack Obama in 2012, Hillary Clinton in 2016, Joe Biden in 2020. Last month, I co-hosted the single largest fundraiser supporting any Democratic candidate ever for President Biden's re-election. I say all of this to express how much I believe in the process and how profound I think this moment is. I love Joe Biden as a senator, vice president, as president. I consider him a friend and I believe in him, believe in his character, believe in his morals. In the last 4 years, he's won many battles he's faced. But the one battle he cannot win is the fight against time. None of us can. It's devastating to say it, but the Joe Biden I was there 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not Joe Big Effing Deal Biden of 2010. He wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate. Was he tired? Yes. A cold? Maybe. But our party leaders need to stop telling us that 51 million people didn't see what we just saw. We're all so terrified by the prospect of a second term that we've opted to ignore every warning sign. The George Stephanopoulos interview only reinforced what we saw the week before. As Democrats, we collectively hold our breath or turn down the volume whenever we see the president, who we respect, walk off Air Force One or walk back to a mic to answer an unscripted question. Damn, this is honest. Is it fair to point these things out? It has to be. This is about age, nothing more, but also nothing that can be reversed. We are not going to win in November with this president. On top of that, we won't win the House and we're going to lose the Senate. This isn't only my opinion. This is the opinion of every senator and Congress member and governor that I've spoken with in private. Every single one, irrespective of what he or she is saying publicly. By the way, which is a scandal. And I thank George Clooney for speaking out. This is really honest. We love to talk about how the Republican Party has ceded all power and all of the traits that made it so formidable with Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush to a single person who seeks to hold on to the presidency, and yet most of our members of Congress are opting to wait and see if the dam breaks. But the dam has broken. We could put our heads in the sand and pray for a miracle in November, or we could speak the truth. It is disingenuous at best to argue that Democrats have already spoken with their vote and therefore the nomination is settled and done, when we just received new and upsetting information. We all think Republicans should abandon their nominee now that he's been convicted of 34 felonies. That's new and upsetting information as well. Top Democrats, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, and senators, representatives, and other candidates who face losing in November need to ask this president to voluntarily step aside. All of the scary stories that we're being told about what would happen next are simply not true. In all likelihood, the money in the Biden-Harris coffers could go to help the presidential ticket and other Democrats. I already talked about that. By the way, chat, I want you to understand something. I am better at this than almost every other analyst you're going to see, because I know what the laws are. And if I don't know what the laws are, I know how to look them up. How many other analysts that do you watch know what the fucking laws are or how to look them up? You don't. They operate off of some headline they saw. And here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is what I post. This is what I posted on the 29th of June. 29th of June. Contribution limits for 2023-2024 federal elections. So, what is the Biden-Harris campaign committee? It's a candidate committee. They have $300 million. And Biden drops out. Harris drops out. What can they do with that? Well, they could give unlimited transfers to the party committee national and the party committee state, district, and local. So they could take that $300 million and they could plow it into state parties. They could plow it into the DNC, thereby giving the money to the presidential race and all the down ballot races, because a candidate committee can give an unlimited amount of money to their national committee. So all $300 million could go to the Democratic Party. Not $1 would be lost. And Democratic parties can spend money on the candidates that they nominate. So they can literally take that money and give it to a new candidate. Now, it wouldn't go directly into that candidate's committee. It would go to the national party, and the national party would spend it on their candidates, which includes the new candidate. That would basically be fungible. And national parties can coordinate with candidates. So there's absolutely no problem with coordinating the spending. So the idea that we would lose a single dollar is a fucking lie. Again, this got 100 likes, but hey, it was very important. Nobody cares about the actual functions of these. I already knew where these arguments were. The reason why I did this post is because I saw where this argument was going to go, and I wanted to be able to go back 2 weeks later and say, see, I already talked about this. I already gave you the right answer. I want you all to be in my hell for a little bit, where we already know the right answer, way ahead of everyone else. Okay, let's keep going. All the scary stories we're being told about what would happen next are simply not true. In all likelihood, the money in the Biden-Harris coffers could go help the presidential ticket and other Democrats. It's not likelihood, it's a fact. The new nominee wouldn't be left off ballots in Ohio. We Democrats have a very exciting bench. We don't anoint leaders or fall sway to a cult of personality. We vote for a president. We can easily foresee a group of several strong Democrats stepping forward to stand and tell us why they're best qualified to lead this country and take on some of the deeply concerning trends we're seeing from the revenge tour that Donald Trump calls a presidential campaign. Let's hear from Wes Moore and Kamala Harris and Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom and Andy Beshear and J.B. Pritzker and others. Let's agree that the candidates not attack one another, but in the short time we have, focus on what will make this country soar. Then we could go into the Democratic convention next month and figure it out. Would it be messy? Yes. Democracy is messy. But would it enliven our party and wake up voters who long before the June debate have already checked out? It sure would. The short ramp to election day would be a benefit for us, not a danger. It would give us the chance to showcase the future without so much opposition, research, and negative campaigning that comes with these ridiculously long and expensive election seasons. This can be an exciting time for democracy, as we've just seen with the 200 or so French candidates who stepped aside and put their personal ambitions on hold to save democracy from the far right. Joe Biden is a hero. He saved democracy in 2020. We need him to do it again in 2024. Dead right. Shocker, a political system controlled by the rich has a way to transfer millions from one candidate to another. Of course they do. Of course they do. And this is the reality. And by the way, why have I gone so hard on this issue? Why have I gone so hard on so many other issues? Because that's the only speed I've got. I don't soft pedal things. You could say my emotional quotient is low. I want you to think like I think, which is obviously crazy, right? But it is what it is. I don't know, maybe it's just arrogance on my part. Who knows? But it is what it is.